So hello friends, we'll be starting with module 5, so which deals with kinematics and kinetics. Now to understand the definitions first. So now kinematics, it is a branch of mechanics that deals with study of motion of a body without referring to the cause of motion. Now say a body which is under motion, which is in motion, so we'll not be bothered of what are the forces causing the motion of the body. We are not bothered of say some force F which is causing motion of the body. We are not bothered of, or we are not studying which are the forces which is causing the motion. We are bothered only of the motion of the body. Yeah. Now coming to kinetics, so it is a again branch of mechanics that deals with the study of motion of a body with reference to cause of motion. Now here we are not bothered of the force which is causing the motion. Now in kinetics we are bothered, we should understand which is the forces which will cause the motion of the body. And now moving ahead, now there are different types of motion, like one is rectilinear motion, now which states it is motion of a body along a straight line, or motion of a body in a straight line, and curvilinear along a curved path. So maybe any type of curves, the circular one, the parabolic, elliptical, any type of curves. You will be dealing with the different types of curved motion. Now in your study you will be dealing with both the types of motions. So next, to understand these motion, there are a few basic parameters you'll have to understand. The first one is position, then displacement and distance traveled. Now when you take position, it defines coordinate or location of a particle at a particular instant of time. So repeating that, position which defines coordinate or location of a particle, that is moving particle or a body at a particular instant of time. So here you can observe, and it is a vector quantity. Position is a vector quantity. Now we'll take a small example. Now take a particle at time t0, the position is at x0. Now as a time lapses from t0 to t1, your position of the particle has shifted to x0 to x1. Now at time t1, your position of the particle will be plus x1. Now since it is moving to the right of origin, it is like simple coordinate system. It will be plus x1. Now as time lapses further again, at time t2, your position of the particle will be plus x2. Now further at instant of time t3, your position of the particle will be plus x3. So further at time t4, so on, it will be plus x4. Now since it is moving to the right, we consider all these coordinates have to be plus. If the particle is moving to the left of the origin, your coordinate will be considered say minus x5, minus x6 and so on. Now quickly briefing that fast. Now position, it defines the location or coordinate. It is a simple coordinate system. You are locating where the particle is at an instant of time. You are locating, or you are determining the coordinate of a particle at a particular instant of time, which is a vector quantity. So now moving ahead, displacement. Now displacement defines the change in position. Now how do you determine change in position? It is final position minus initial position. Final position minus initial position, but which is measured for an interval of time. Whereas position, you are measuring it at an instant of time, wherein displacement is measured for a particular interval of time. Now again this is a vector quantity. Now to take up we'll come back to the example when we see the distance traveled. Now coming to the distance traveled. Now distance traveled is total path followed by a moving body during the motion. Now there is a difference between displacement and distance traveled. So repeating this, distance traveled, it is a total path followed by a body during the motion. Now we'll take up this small example. Now say at time x0, your particle is at A. At time x1, your particle is at B. At time x2, your particle is at C. Now we'll try to understand what distance traveled from time x. Sorry, it has to be t0. Your time has to be t0. Small correction I'll update here. At time t0, your position. So now defining at time t0, your position of the particle is at A. and time t1 position is at B, at time t2 your position of the particle is at C. Now coming to the distance traveled, now to reach from initial position to the final position, your particle has traveled from A to B, then B to C. Now the total distance traveled will be 3 plus 4, which is 7 meters. Now the total distance traveled or the path followed to reach from initial position to the final position will be 3 plus 4, which is 7 meter. Whereas displacement, what it says, the final position minus initial position. Now this is the final position C and this is the initial position. Now the difference of those two, the final position minus initial position, will be this distance, which is 5 meter. Now you have to understand this. This is very important. The distance traveled will be the total path followed during the entire motion, that is from initial position to the final position, that is plus 3 and plus 4, 7 meter. So whereas the displacement will be the final position minus the initial position. The final position is C and the initial position is A, which is distance 5 meter. Moving ahead with the next definitions which you have already come across. The next one is velocity. V stands for velocity. Now it is average velocity. Now how you define average velocity as? It is change in position divided by time interval. Now how did you calculate change in position? The final position minus initial position divided by whatever is the time interval, which we are writing it as dx by dt. So now when as t2 minus t1, the time interval, when almost tends to 0, when time interval is very small, so in that case, your value of dt will be very small. In such cases, your average velocity becomes what? Instantaneous velocity. Now why instantaneous? Now time interval is very short here. So now say 10 am and 10.0001 seconds. So when that interval is very short, you are measuring velocity at a very short interval of time or at an instant of time. So that is why now this average velocity becomes what? Instantaneous velocity, when time interval is very short. Now that is what we have written here. So average velocity is for a considerable amount of time interval. Average velocity is for a considerable amount of time interval. As this time interval tends to 0, it becomes a very short interval. Hence your average velocity becomes what? Instantaneous velocity. So there are two different velocities. One is average, and the V instantaneous, it is defined as again same dx by dt, wherein your time interval is almost tending to 0 or it is very instantaneous. Now similarly, average acceleration. Now A stands for acceleration here. So average acceleration, which is change in velocity divided by time interval. Change in velocity divided by time interval. Again, as time interval, that is t2 minus t1 tends to 0, we are measuring acceleration at an instant. So that is why your average acceleration also becomes instantaneous acceleration. So now therefore, your instantaneous acceleration is defined as change in velocity as your delta t tends to 0. The interval will be very much short, so it is as good as you are measuring at an instant. Now quickly briefing that fast. I hope this is clear. Should I repeat? Shall we go further? I'll quickly brief that fast. Anyhow, I'll brief that. Okay. Now average velocity, that is which you are already familiar with. The change in position divided by time interval. So when this time interval, that is x2 minus x1 or t2 minus t1, which you call it as dx by dt, when this time interval happens to be very small, so it becomes at instant. So when your time interval is very small, so it becomes, you are measuring velocity at a particular instance. That is why your average velocity is called as an instantaneous velocity. Now similarly, your acceleration also, when average acceleration is change in velocity divided by time, and as delta dt tends to 0, so instead of average velocity, we address it as instantaneous. Instead of average acceleration, we address it as instantaneous acceleration. And the unit of velocity and acceleration already are familiar. So velocity is referred as meter per second or kilometer per hour, which is standard. We refer to it as meter per second, and acceleration will be meter per second square. Meter per second square. Now I think these have to be noted down. I hope this is clear. So with that, we'll move ahead again. We're rewriting these expressions again. V instantaneous is equal to dx by dt. Then A instantaneous is equal to dv by dt. See, whenever any displacement, when you are differentiating, 1 minute, I'll write down and explain. Differentiate with respect to s or x, respect to t, you will get velocity, that is dx by dt. Now further differentiating, you will get acceleration, that is dv by dt, or else dv by dt integrating with respect to t. So you will get velocity. Now further integration, that is dx by dt. Further integration with respect to time, you will be getting displacement. So now these relation you should understand. So when you differentiate the displacement or change in position with respect to time, you will be getting velocity, and when you further differentiate velocity with respect to time, you will be getting acceleration. The same vice versa. Now when you integrate acceleration with respect to time, you will be getting velocity. When you further integrate velocity with respect to time, you will be getting change in position or the displacement. Now this is how your problems also will be. What is that? You will be given an expression for displacement. You will be given an expression for displacement. Then you will be asked to calculate acceleration or velocity with respect to a particular interval of time. So that expression, when you differentiate with respect to the first derivative with respect to time, so you will be getting the expression for velocity. Substitute that time interval to get the velocity. Now further differentiate that to get the expression, and again substitute t to calculate the acceleration for given interval of time. So the other way, if they give you an expression for acceleration, so the other way, if you go back, interpolate given the acceleration and ask you change in position or the displacement. So first integration will give you velocity, second integration will give you the displacement. Substituting the time interval, you will be able to calculate the displacement. Now this is how your problems will be. This is very important. Maybe one small problem we'll take here itself. I'll quickly do it here itself. Now say an expression is given as 2x square plus 4x plus 6. This is an expression, sorry, I'll make instead t square. It is a time dependent. Now 2t square plus 4t plus 6 is a expression for displacement which is dependent on time. Now if you are asked to calculate, sorry, I'll take 2t square, no issues. No, I'll take 2t cube. 2t cube plus 4t plus 6. Yeah, now if you are asked to calculate the acceleration of a body at time interval, say some 3 seconds. At time interval, say some 3 seconds, wherein all your distances are in meters. Your distances are in meters. Now this is an expression for the displacement or change in position. Now the first derivative of that, I'll quickly, how much will that be? 6. So now this will be what? 2 into 3t square plus 4 plus 6. No, this will be 0, I'm sorry. This will be 0. Derivation of this constant will be 0. Next, this will be what? When you simplify, you will be getting 6t square plus 4. Now when you further differentiate, it will be how much? 12t. That's all, 12t, and differentiation of this with respect to t will be 0. Finally, I will be left with what? 12t. So now 12t, and what is the time interval given to you? 3 seconds. I'll substitute 3. So your acceleration will be 36 meter per second square. 36 meter per second square. Now there are plenty of problems given in many of the textbooks. This is very simple. So more of mathematics. So simple differentiation or integration. So you should remember the very basics. The differentiation of displacement will give us velocity with respect to time. Now further differentiation will give us acceleration, and vice versa. So integration will integration will get us velocity, and further integration will get us the displacement or change in position. If you know differentiation and integration, any type of such problems can be solved. Rectilinear motion, it is a motion of a body along a straight line. Yeah, now coming to the equations of rectilinear motion. So when acceleration is constant, so this is important. Now these equations are applicable only for constant acceleration. So when your acceleration is varying, so again you'll have to use and go back and use what equations we have seen, basic equations we have seen earlier. Now these equations are applicable only for constant acceleration, which you have already come across in your 12th physics, which says v is equal to u plus at, s is equal to ut plus half at square, v square minus u square is equal to 2 as, wherein u is initial velocity, v is final velocity, s is displacement, then a is time interval, t is time interval, and a is what? Constant acceleration. Constant acceleration. So yeah, now you call it as, when rate of change in velocity when it is positive, you call it as acceleration. When the rate of change of velocity when it is positive, you call it as acceleration. When the rate of change of velocity is negative, you call it as deceleration. Now here you have to be careful. When the rate of change of velocity is positive, you are entering as value as plus a here. When a velocity, that is a dv, you can call it as the rate of change of velocity is increasing. When rate of change of velocity is increasing, you call it as positive, that is acceleration. When the rate of change of velocity is decreasing, so that you call it as a deceleration, you have to take it as minus a. While solving the problems, that you have to be careful. And again, so repeating this, these equations of motion are applicable for a straight line with constant acceleration. Straight line with constant acceleration. And one more important thing is that, so when rate of change of velocity is increasing, when the rate of change of velocity is increasing, you take it as acceleration, that is positive, it will be acceleration. Wherein your rate of change of velocity is decreasing, which you consider it as deceleration, which has to be considered as minus. Hope this is clear again. So directly we'll take up problem. We will take up the first problem. It says a particle or any body starts with initial velocity of 2.5 meter per second. It is better you write down the given data like that, so that you can solve the problem in much better or easier. Repeating that fast. A particle or a body starts with initial velocity of 2.5 meter per second and accelerates uniformly. Your acceleration is constant and which is uniform. So that is 0.5 meter per second square. And now you are asked to calculate, determine the displacement, determine the distance traveled or the displacement in 2 seconds, as well as the time required to attain the velocity of the final velocity of 7.5 meter per second, and distance traveled when it attains a velocity of 7.5 meter per second. Now it is very simple what it says. See, a particle here in a rectilinear motion has an initial velocity of 2.5 meter per second square, which is accelerating uniformly with an acceleration of 0.5 meter per second square. Now what they have asked, how much will be the distance traveled in 2 seconds? How much will be the distance traveled in 2 seconds? There are two parts. Now first we will be solving the first part. What they have asked, the first part they have asked, determine the displacement or the distance traveled in 2 seconds. Now for that you will be using this basic equation, S is equal to, for this we will be using the basic equation, S is equal to ut plus half at square. Now substituting all of those, now initial velocity is 2.5, now time interval given to is 2 seconds plus half into acceleration is 0.5 meter per second square, and time is again 2 square. So how much will that be? 1 yeah, so the 6 meter distance, 6 meter will be the distance or the displacement, so in 2 seconds. 6 meter will be the distance in 2 seconds. Yeah. So now coming to the second part. Now they have also asked what is the time required to attain the velocity of 7.5 meter per second. Now how much is the time required to reach the final velocity of 7.5 meter per second? Now your v will be 7.5 meter per second. Now starting with this initial velocity, to reach this final velocity, we have to calculate how much is the time t required. Now hope we can use this basic equation. So that is for this calculation. So we will be using part is equal to v is equal to u plus at, v is equal to u plus at. So this expression. So we'll make a correction. Sorry, it has to be v is equal to u plus et. Please rectify that. And this expression has to be, so hope all of you will correct this, v is equal to u plus at. Yeah, now taking the same expression, yeah, now v is 7.5, the final velocity is 7.5, so this is 2.5 plus acceleration is 0.5 into time interval is the one which you have to calculate. So now 7.5 minus 2.5, which will be 5.5 into t. Now finally t will be 5 divided by 0.5, which works out as 10 seconds. Now it takes 10 seconds to reach from an initial velocity of 2.5 to 7.5 seconds. And also lastly they have asked, now what will be the distance travelled when it attains a velocity of 7.5 meter per second. Yeah, now the total distance travelled, again we will be using this basic equation. Yeah, now the distance travelled when it reaches a final velocity of 7.5 meter per second. Now this I will be solving here, this part. Yeah. Now we have to calculate the distance travelled or the displacement when it reaches a final velocity of 7.5 meter per second, which we already know that to reach to this final velocity we have 10 seconds. The time interval will be 10 seconds. Now within this 10 seconds we have to calculate what will be the displacement or distance travelled. Now using this expression, s is equal to ut plus half at square. So now u, again initial velocity is 2.5, time interval is 10 seconds plus 1 by 2 into 0.5 into 10 square. You can quickly check this calculation. It will be 25 plus 100, 50 plus 25. Yeah, so which will be 50 meters. Now, so now the distance travelled by the particle will be 50 meters. Distance travelled by the particle will be 50 meters when it attains a final velocity of 7.5 meter per second. And one more important thing, so here it accelerates, they have told, so that is why, so it means it is a positive acceleration. The rate of change in velocity is positive, so that is why we have taken everywhere a as plus. Everywhere in all the calculation we have taken a as plus. If it says the deceleration, your a would have been substituted as minus here. Your a would have been substituted as minus. Hope this is clear. See, or else it is not that you have to follow the same formulas. See, for this third part, no, we can use this expression also. For this third part, to calculate the the displacement or the distance travelled to reach the final velocity, you will be getting the same answer. V square minus u square is equal to 2 as. So v square is 7.5 square minus 2.5 square, 2 into 0.5 into distance s. So how much this works out? And we can cross check, but you will be getting the same answer. You can cross check that later, but you will be getting the 56.25 minus 6.25. This will be 1 into, yes, 56.25. Yeah, that will be straight away 50. So yes is equal to again 50 meters. Now you can use any of these equations. And I hope this problem is clear. See, we are revolving around these formulas. So if you are thorough with these problems, any problems of such types can be solved.